From blueprints to bliss, let's get popping with another episode of Planco Playbook. You can see over here I've got a Western shop that I built that is in the workshop, and that was built before the Western stuff was available. So it's built mostly with like Viking stuff and all that, but it still looks good. So if you'd like to go get that, it's just an open shell and you can use that. It's in the workshop. If you look at this here, we are building on a floating platform. It's not going to be floating for long. We're going to build our own foundation. We are building, as the title of the video says, a Western themed restaurant right here in Plan Code 2. But instead of just slapping down some walls and calling it a day, we're going full vibe mode. Atmosphere, details, and little touches that make it, make people stop and just say, wow, that's kind of cool, right? So, we're going to build this on a raised platform because, building on everything flat just kind of doesn't look right. And so we're going to build on a raised platform here and build our restaurant on top of that. You do notice in the background, as we get building around here, there is a mine train coaster back there. Unfortunately, the footage got corrupted when I was recording it, and so I don't have the footage of the build being built anymore, but we will take a look through that coaster, and I will make a video showing me going ahead and putting some, scenery and different things throughout the coaster, and of course we'll ride it at some point. But unfortunately, I don't have the build itself recorded anymore because, well, technology. Technology is always great until it isn't. But anyway, we do have this footage, and you are watching it now, so let's get this thing done. Putting the rest of our foundation here. And I really like that we can remove the built-in foundations in the game now, so that makes it a lot better. We have our foundation in place, and we're going to move these trees out of the way here because we are going to put some facades over here on one side, and I'm going to leave the other side over here by the coaster wide open like that, so that people sitting there can watch the coasters go by and have even more ambience and atmosphere and the sounds of the coaster going by and all that good stuff. So we are going to make some Western style facades like it's Main Street in a spaghetti Western. Wood beams, dusty signs, windows and things that hint at mysterious like saloon drama going on in there, and everything that you'd expect from a town where someone's always willing to duel over chili. So let's get these in place, and I do have a stone guest that I'm using there as something to use for scale, because when you go to theme parks, things aren't built on a very huge scale. So we don't really want to build on the standard 4-meter scale that the game offers. We're going to bring these down a little bit, and I use the stone guests as a way to kind of get these to a scale that fits more of a theme park vibe. So here we are, we've got this guy here, and he's going to give us an idea of how big we need everything. So we'll put these windows in place, put a door right there, and get the colors right, because we're kind of using a color palette here that I've kind of come up with in my mind, and color palettes are very, very important. And in future videos, we'll get into how to use color palettes and color theory and why certain colors work good together and how to make them give you the vibe that you're looking for. And we'll get into that into deeper detail in future videos. So make sure that you're subscribed, make sure you give this video a like, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. I'm going to try to do as many of these a week as I can. It's probably going to be about 1 to 2 a week at first, and then later on, as I have more time, I'll try to get more of these up for you so that you can have some things to download. And everything that I build in my theme parks, everything I build on this channel will be available in the workshop. So this restaurant, for example, the share code is down below in the description, so you can go get this. And I have some other things that are already in the workshop that people are downloading. My most downloaded, I think, is my Main Street latte shop, and that one I think has pretty close to 400. So while you're there, make sure to mark it as a favorite and all that good stuff, and help other people find it easier. So here we're getting a roof in place and some other things, and so just watch the build for a minute and listen to the music. Okay, so we have our awning in place here, a nice little rustic metal awning that goes up above there, and we're putting some pillars here to hold that up so it's not just floating in the air. And we've got the decorative side turned up, so we kind of just flipped them upside down there, and that adds a little more to the decor. And then up here we're going to add some roof trim. I think I used these smaller boards here, yes, and move those into place, kind of rotate them so they don't all look identical, and then put that all the way around the roof here just to add a little more, and so it's not so plain. I didn't add too much to these facades, and I didn't put anything on the inside. So if you do want to use these facades as functional buildings, you'll just need to add some things on the inside and make them more accessible to your guests, add pathways and things like that. But these are more for show than anything here. And so I'm adding a few little details just to make it look a little bit better. There's a chimney up there with that's following our color scheme. I was going to put a balcony around and decided to just leave it open because this is just facades. These are just there kind of for show, and even though I like a lot of detail, I didn't want to go and put that much into it. We're putting a stone here just to add a foundation for this house so it's not just floating in the air. And then we're going to actually do more to that landscaping out front there in a little bit. But for now, we're going to put some creosote bushes here and get them into place and start making it look a little more Western over there. So here we're going to add our second building, and like I said, we don't really like too much on the flat type of build. So we're going to add a little depth here by moving it back, and we'll add some walls to cover up those empty spaces. And you know, I do know that a lot of times in Planet Coaster, you know, especially when you're first starting, you tend to build a little bit flat. You put everything kind of on the same plane or whatever. But this just kind of will give you an idea of how to build with a little more depth, a little more texture. And, you know, you can use this idea, of course, in your own theme parks to kind of give everything a little bit better vibe and make it look a little more realistic. You know, that's one of the things I'm going to be doing a lot on this channel is going for a little bit more realism. It won't be perfectly real. It won't be like photorealism, like, you know, like right out of like just being there, but we are going to give it a better vibe, and we are going to try to do things a little more realistic so that your parks can kind of stand out from the herd. So we're putting in some steps here and getting things in place, and just go ahead and watch while I get these pieces where I want them. So as you can see, we've got our planters here, and that fills in some of the space so we don't have to put any real foundations down there. These buildings can kind of float, but they won't look like they're floating. We've got the flowers going in there using the rhododendron bushes, which I tend to like using a lot in Plan Co 2. And we can scale them down a little bit, make them fit the size that we need, and recolor them to make them fit our color palette for this area. And then just duplicate that, spin it around to make it look a little different, and you know, bring them down into the ground a little bit, sink them down a little bit just to make them fit a little bit better. Fill in that space there with that wall. And now here I was going to build a like kind of like stalls and horses and a covered wagon and some other stuff, and make it look like a little vignette, like a little scene, you know, of just, you know, cowboys hanging out and stuff with some of the animatronics. But that's going to change. If you keep on watching, you'll see here. What I do is I get this into place, and then I actually resized it because it would have taken a lot of those to do what I want to do. So I made it a little bit bigger. And we're going to move that down and into place here in just a moment. As you can see, get that right there, lined up, just right, down there, and move it over a little bit just to cover up that empty space, and perfect. So now we'll go ahead and put these into place, and we will get to where you'll see where I put in a covered wagon and some other things, but decided to take that covered wagon out later, so it will come away later. Scale that down, move it into place, and then of course here, being that they don't have like animatronic horses or animals in the game yet, hopefully they will at some point, I went ahead and put these hitching posts in just for atmosphere and for a good look. But obviously I don't have any horses to put there, and I didn't want to try to build any from pieces because they tend to look a little weird, a little cartoony. That's fine if they're going into an attraction where that looks okay, but you know, if I wanted horses over here, I want them to look at least somewhat real, or at least like animatronic horses. But we'll add some atmosphere here. We'll add a little bit of fencing and shrink that down, of course, because the fences are gigantic. And so we'll put these into place, and once we have those in place, I'll show you what I ended up doing. Okay, so we have our fences in place here. We took away the covered wagon, and now what we need is a piano player's stage. That's right. Spotlight, creaky stool, because if someone isn't hammering out honky-tonk bangers while guests eat, is it really even a Western restaurant? Well, this one will be. We've got a stage right here. We're going to get that right into place right about there. And now we need to make it look better. So we will go ahead and decorate a little bit, put some pillars up and a roof and some decorations and a sign, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now we got most of it in place here, and we're gonna put a sign up there that tells everybody that they're gonna get some live piano music. That's right, piano music. Okay, we need a couple of spotlights in there, but we're first gonna put an oil lamp here just for a little bit of ambience and decoration, but we're also going to put these spotlights in so we can give some lighting to our piano player so he's not playing in the dark. And that'll also light up the area a little bit as well and give us some more ambient lighting in the area. So we'll go with some blue, and with our color wheel we'll go slightly orange on the other side, and we'll get that lighting done relatively quickly here. All right, so we have our piano music sign, we have our piano lighting and our piano stage. So now it's time to, I think, we work on this facade a little bit, fill it in and get some walls up. And again, these don't have anything in them, so you can always add something later and make it your own. So don't ever hesitate in making these buildings your own and changing things up once you get them downloaded, because hey, you know, I mean, it's your theme park, your building, and these are just there to kind of give you a start. So we'll get these walls into place here, just kind of fill out and make them look somewhat real. And now it's time to put in the most important part of a restaurant, the cook station. So we're going to put this in here, and the first thing you need to do is add tables to it. So you'll see how you put this in, and then from there you have to connect tables to it so that it becomes an operating restaurant. So this is where the magic happens, you know, the biscuit, the beans, the overly enthusiastic staff, NPCs, you know, all the good stuff. And now this is where we're going to have our food prepared. So here we go. We're going to add our tables. We just connect them here and just place them anywhere on our pathway here where people can sit and eat in the restaurants. This is such a cool thing that they've added to Planet Coaster 2. It was totally missing in Planet Coaster 1, and they were able to work it out and make it happen for us. So glad to see that. So now that we have our tables in place, you know, those bright sunny days, we need something to kind of cover up a little bit. So we're going to pull some of these parasols, as they call them here, these big giant umbrellas, and we'll put those into place and get those colored up to fit our color scheme here for this restaurant. And if you'll notice right here in the center of the tables here in just a moment, these tables have a little tiny circle right in the middle. So if you do put these parasols in your restaurants, on your tables, wherever you happen to have them, you can always find that little circle right there in the middle and line up your umbrella right there, just like that. So your umbrellas are centered right over the tables themselves, right in the middle. So let's go ahead and get these into place. All right, there we go. Big wooden tables, benches that look like they haven't been cleaned in years, and plenty of space for food fights. Total, authentic, dusty charm. And now, of course, we need, this is why I left this big space in the middle, we need a dance floor. Because every Wild West restaurant, wow, try to say that 3 times fast. Every Wild West restaurant needs a spot where people can two-step and line dance and do all those corny things that people do. And so we're going to put in a dance floor and some lighting and all that. And then you got your piano player over there, so all the vibes are there, right? And then we'll hit it with some the ambient lighting, which I just mentioned. We'll put that in there, just enough to feel like, you know, not so much like a mall food court, you know, bonus points for dramatics here. So guests won't dance in game, of course, but you'll know that they want to just by the look of this dance floor, and that's what matters. So let's get this dance floor into place. Okay, so we have our canopies here now over our dance floor, and what we need to do is make them look like they're not floating in space there. They need something to hold them up, so we're going to take some of this rope, and we're going to attach the rope from the poles to the canopy rings that are on the corners there, and get these canopies set up just right. All right, look at that. So we're starting to get a little bit of ambience now. We've got some nice soft lighting there. We'll be adding some more lighting here in a minute. Because dance floors aren't just these dim little squares on the floor, rectangles in the floor, so we need to make sure that it looks a little bit better by adding some lighting to this. So we're going to add some lighting all around the top here, and we'll use these spotlights right here. And we're going to get those pointed at the dance floor, add some color to those, and of course color the spotlights themselves so they don't, stand out too much. We'll make them, match the color of the wood and other things around here. And as you can tell, we're using a lot of earth tones, so we'll kind of stick with that as far as getting everything to kind of fit the color scheme. So let's get these spotlights in place. All right, so we have our spotlights in place now, and one thing we need here is a sign so people know that it's not just a rectangle on the floor with a bunch of lights pointing at it. So we're going to put our dancing floor sign up here. And when I say dancing floor, I mean dancing floor. Look at that. All right, and then we need to get some bins over here to keep people from walking through those poles. That's one thing I don't know why they haven't worked on yet. Since Planet Coaster 1, they haven't turned on collision for scenery items. So hopefully they'll work on that at some point so we don't have to put bins everywhere or benches or other types of barriers to keep people from walking through things. These bins help for now, and being that it's a Western restaurant and they're barrels, it looks kind of, it's part of the vibe. It's all part of the vibe. And we know the restaurant won't get dirty because, well, people will throw their trash in all the bins, so that's a good thing. We're going to add some fencing here along the edges because who needs a lawsuit, right? So we'll get these fences up and we'll scale them properly so that they fit, and had a little trouble there trying to get it to stand up in the right direction. But got that done, and now we'll get this into place here. We'll scale it down and start putting fencing all the way around to keep our guests safe and to add some more, decor and just make it look right, make it look more Western. So we're putting in a little bit of lighting here all the way around, and this will change a little bit. You can see there are some gaps in the fences, and I tried to cover those up with the light posts, but we're going to actually fix that up a little bit later. But these lamp posts here are just to add a little bit more lighting. And you know, I've mentioned before in some of my videos that I like to do the ambient lighting thing. You know, you go to a theme park and the lighting tends to be dim. It's not super bright. I know some people, when they're building in the Planco games, like to do a lot of bright lighting everywhere, but me personally, I really like the ambience. I like that authentic feel like you would get in a theme park. So we do add some lighting here, as you can see, with these oil lamps and the lanterns and stuff, but we're not going super bright. And even over here in our piano player station, we are going to dim those a little bit just so that they're not super bright. And that just kind of lends to the atmosphere that we're building over here in our western area of our theme park. And that's, like I said, I just like the authenticity of it, so we'll stick with that. And now we are taking a look at it here with all of our, well, with our current lighting in place. There will be some more that I'll add later, but as you can see, it's enough lighting to draw attention, but not be super bright like it's daytime in there. So we'll go ahead and brighten it up to daytime so we can work on our next part, which is right out here in front in this big patch of grass. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking, you know, what do I want to call this restaurant? Well, I'll tell you in a minute, but first let's get this stuff here. We're going to add some texture and color up the ground a little bit, just so it's not the same flat look. And then we're going to add some plants, and I'm thinking a little pond right there and a fountain. So we'll add those things in. We'll just get some color in here and some texture, and then we'll go from there and just kind of dress it up a little bit and make it look a little nicer. So when you add these paints, the paint textures, it just adds more realism. It adds more of that realistic feeling here. So we're going to do that. And so let's dig our pond out here. We're going to add some nice water and then some rocks, and you know, just make this look really nice. So here we go. Let's get this into place. Get these rocks here, and then we'll add some fountains and some other things and just kind of make it look really good here. A few shrubs, some well-placed rocks, some old school fountains that probably haven't worked since 1885, you know. And then once we get all this in place, we need to put a sign out there, right? Every restaurant needs a sign. And so we'll get to that in just a moment here once I get all of this into place and we start making it look right. Okay, so here we are getting our fountains in place. I decided to go with a big one first here, and then we'll add some smaller ones around it and some splashes and different things just to make it look a little more authentic. But I thought this would make a nice little, you know, what do they call it? Like a little vista, you know, a little vista point. Maybe later on when we have characters and everything, I can assign one to this area, and people can take their photos there and watch the characters perform in front of this area. But it also adds some nice ambience and just gives this whole place a nice look. So adding some fountains here, some plants and flowers and things to go around our rocks that we put there. And we'll put these smaller ones all the way around like that, and it just looks cool. So We need a sign. We need a sign to tell people what the name of this restaurant is, and I messed around a little bit with placement here, as you'll see in a moment, and eventually settled on placing it closer to the front. I was thinking of putting it right there, and then I'm like, well, you know, then I'd have to make it really, really big, and it wouldn't be very noticeable. And then I liked the look of this sign, so I did stick with this, and so now we have to get that into place here, and I think I was thinking right there, what do I need to do? So I made it bigger, and then I was thinking, let's get it away from there. I was going to put it right in front of the water right there, but then it would be difficult to see when you're walking down the pathway. You want your sign to be visible. You want people to know where they're going. They need to know that this is the place that they're looking for when they look at their maps and they're looking at the food places and they're like, where do we go eat? Well, let's go eat at this place. And so we're going to put the sign out here closer to the front here in a moment, where it'll be much easier to read. Let's get it rotated there. And now let's move it out front. This is where it belongs. And now we needed a name, right? We needed a name. So I went with a name that I think speaks to authenticity, old Western, type of thing. So I came up with the Rusty Spoon. So let's do the Rusty Spoon because, you know, it's not an authentic Western dining experience unless you walk away needing a tetanus shot. So we'll use these railroad pieces here just to put those on the back to hold the sign up. I thought that was kind of a cool idea, you know, using railroad track pieces to put that up. And then we'll get that into place. So let's get that Rusty Spoon sign all placed. Put an arrow there pointing to the restaurant in case people don't realize that that's the place we're talking about. And then we'll go to nighttime, add some lighting so people can see the sign at night, and we'll get that lit up like that, not too bright. So we'll change the lighting a little bit and use a light that lets our lettering stay kind of a reddish color so that it fits the theme of the Rusty Spoon. So there's a look at it, and it's pointing in the right direction. We've got our sign, we've got a bunch of umbrellas and different things here in place, but we need to come back over here and get our kitchen in order. So let's get this all decorated up. And one of the things you'll notice I do here once I get this canopy in place is you see it has that mythology theme on it with the kind of pattern on there. Well, one thing you can do to get rid of that theme, I don't know why it was wigging out right there. I tried changing the color and it just wigged out on me. But one thing you can do when you want to change the color is just make the pattern the same color as the canopy, and those patterns disappear. So you can kind of make it fit any theme that you want to. And here I'm just changing up the colors on here and making sure that it fits again with our color palette that we're sticking with, the earth tones and the browns and reds and greens and yellows. So here we are. And then I found this stovetop thing, which I thought was kind of cool. So I'm going to put this, they call it an iron chimney. I call it a stovetop thing because I couldn't think of anything else to call it. But let's go ahead and put this on there. And right there for the chefs, and that'll take the smoke, and we'll put some smoke effect in there right now, and that way you can have that smell of barbecue wafting over the entire restaurant area and throughout the whole western area, so people will just insist on coming over here and getting their burnt steak and their dry ribs and chicken. So we'll put that there, and we'll put the smoke effect in there. And I did experiment a little bit with colors of smoke, but went ahead with like a light gray color, just so it looks kind of authentic. And then we'll get that in place, and then we'll put the facade out here on the front and make sure that it has that nice rustic feel to it. So we'll get these into place, and then we'll move forward. All right, so we have that in place now, and now we're going to put a sign over here so people know that they can order their food. Otherwise, they're just going to be sitting at the tables wondering where the waiters are. Well, we don't have waiters in the game, so we're going to make sure that they know that they have to come over here, order their food, then go sit back down at their dirty tables and get ready to eat their theme park food. So we'll put that here, get it into place. There we go, and click it. There we go, right there. And we'll let them know that this is where they order. So order here, y'all. We'll put that on the sign so they know that this is where to come and order their food. And let's get that changed. And hopefully, you know, people will know this is where they need to get their food. So we'll do that. And to make it stand out a little bit, especially at night, we're going to add a little bit of lighting here, not too much. And then we'll put a light underneath the sign to light it up. And oh yeah, I forgot I put these string lights up here too, and changed the color of them to warm them up as well. I do like that warm lighting. I don't like it to be too bright, and so again, just warming up the lighting, and at night those give off a nice warm glow. So we'll get those into place, we'll get the lighting in place for our sign, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we have our lighting in place now. We have our signs, and you can see everything looks nice and warm and inviting with that soft, dim light that I like. And where did we go from here? I think this might be where I was looking at these corners and thinking that looks a little bit weird. So what I did was I looked for posts that I could put in there, and ended up finding some things that that I added, and that kind of made those look not so awkward. So I'll get those into place for you, and I think I changed them a couple of times, but I'll get those in place for you. We're going to add some oil lanterns to those to add a little bit more lighting and a little more ambience, and then we'll move on from there. So now we have some lighting in place, we have those posts in place so that those corners don't look so awkward anymore. And once I did that, I kind of felt like, okay, let's take a look at this at night and see how that looks. Oh my goodness, look at that. It is looking so much better now. And we're starting to get that feel of a real Western restaurant in a theme park. So let's take a look here. What did I do from here? I think I was just kind of inspecting and making sure everything looked pretty good, and so far it does. So yeah, look at that. Wow. Okay, so let's go back to these facades here and give it a little bit of extra, some signage, some little detail. Oh, some little details, and let's now it's like less of a forgotten prop wall and more like a this place has history type of thing. So we'll add an awning over the door, we'll add some lighting and some other things, and then I think it'll look much better. All right, so we got that all set up, and let's not forget the back of the restaurant over here near the piano stage. We're not going to leave it boring, so let's throw in a little landscaping, some trees and different things, you know, plants that haven't seen water since the gold rush, and that way it'll give people a nice little vista from the seating area, and it also acts as kind of a cover for anything else we build back there, to where maybe they can kind of see through the trees a little bit, other buildings or other things, or if we don't put anything back there, it'll at least look like it's less empty. So that just kind of adds to the look overall, and more atmosphere and all that good stuff. All right, look at this. Looking at it at night now, you can see all that beautiful lighting. We've got our landscaping back there filling out the area, and just look at that. I mean, that just looks great from a distance. Wow, it even looks better close up. And so we're going to do a few things here as we get closer to the end of our build. One of the things we need here is a little bit more lighting in between the tables. But first, let's light up this dance floor sign, the dancing floor sign. We'll take a couple of these lights, these wall lights, flip them upside down, use them as up lights, and warm up that light a little bit. It's a little bit of an odd color there, so we're going to dim those down just a little bit, not too much. There we go. Nice warm lighting, and we'll confirm that. Change that to match up the posts that they're on a little bit, so they don't stick out too much, and then copy that and move that over. So now we have our dancing floor sign all lit up, and look at this, it's starting to look better. So here we're going to add some more of these. We're just going to copy those and move them over. And one of the things I forgot is you can't use that add to selection thing if you don't have the right buttons turned on, so I had to turn those on real quick, as you see. And finally got to copy and move those over a little bit quicker than trying to build them one at a time. So here we are getting this into place, and now we got all of those. Great. So now we are going back to daytime, and we are going to put some planters over here. But you know, one of the things that I mentioned earlier in the video, and I've mentioned in other videos, is for whatever reason, they don't have collision turned on for these props and path extras and things like that, building pieces and things. So even though we can probably stamp out a little circle right there on the path tool to keep people from walking in it, what I wanted to do instead is just go ahead and take these bins, because people will not walk through bins. The guests will walk around them. And so rather than these little half barrels that look nice, we'll just go ahead and use these bins as not only a planter, but as a barrier, so people won't walk through our planters and our lights. So that's a little hack you can use there. Using them as light bases, I mean, low-key genius, right? Pop a light on top, sink it down a little. Suddenly it's stylish, functional, you know, and you know, multitasking. So we'll put those around a little bit, and that'll give it that soft little glow all around the seating area that kind of whispers, hey, we clean up our mess eventually. So let's get these into place and light up the seating areas a little bit, and then we are good to go. All right, so we have our Western restaurant sitting up there. Piano stage is ready, the dance floor is lit, and the kitchen's got some stew in it. It's moody, stylish, and weirdly cozy for a building that probably contains exactly 0 real food. But hey guys, just wanted to thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you all next time. Don't forget, build bigger, build bolder, and may your dreams become your reality. We'll see you in the next episode of Planco Playbook.